Oh, hi. How you doing? Happy Sunday, or happy whatever day you may catch this live chat that would then not be live, it would be playback. Hi, how you doing? It's not been ages. It's been 8 days since I've done a live, which for me is actually a while lately. Put the old specs on so I can see what I'm doing. I've got a cup of tea brewing here. I've got a really, really lovely chai that was gifted to me by a friend last week. But I needed a bit more caffeine. So it's mixed with black tea, as most chais are. And then I have stuck in another tea bag. And I've probably ruined it by putting some PG Tips in, because PG Tips is all that they had at the local shop. I try to stay on top of the tea supply here in Shea Bear, because I drink a lot of tea, and not just caffeinated tea. I drink herbal teas as well, and I drink coffee. I try not to drink too much coffee. I nearly made a coffee and I was like, no, what's the time? It's nearly 1 p.m. If I were to be traveling through time and space, wide awake in bed at 3 a.m., then have the coffee. And I was like, do I want to do that? No, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to have tea. This will be my third tea of the day, which is probably caffeinated. But yeah, I misjudged my regular sort of caffeinated tea stock recently, and by a week for the next batch that would be arriving in the weekly shop that I get delivered. And so the old Mr. Bear had to pop across the road to the local Tesco's, the wee Tesco's, and grab some tea. And he was like, they had PG Tips or something else. No, it wasn't PG Tips he's picked up. I'm lying. It was Yorkshire Gold, which is better than PG Tips in my humble opinion. But I've stuck that in with the fancy, expensive chai tea because caffeine. So we've got some people in already. Hello, Sam, lovely. How you doing? And I can see a Rona. Hello, Rona. And Scott, hello. Lovely to see you. I can already feel myself heating up. I was a bit chilly. I've just closed the window and I've got a hot water bottle. I had this on my lower back this morning because my back's been a bit sore, fibromyalgia stuff in it. But I thought I would do a tag, and then I was like, oh, can I be asked? Can I be asked to, pre-film it? And then I don't know why I say edit, because I never used to edit my videos. I've done a little bit of editing in the last year or so. I've gotten a bit more into it. And I was like, no, I can't be bothered. I'm feeling quite tired still, and I'm lazy, and I hadn't been live for over a week. So I was like, let's just do it live. Hello, Natalie. Lovely to see you. Just gonna roll my sleeves up, get stuck in. So this may be a quick one. It may be a long one. It is me after all. Brevity is not my strong suit, let's be honest. It's just the way it is. And like I always say, if you don't like it, you don't have to watch. And if you don't like it and you are watching, why? I always find it so confusing. Sam says, I am good. Been researching stuff for a couple of days. Oh, let's pop that up. I'm going to try and be good and remember to put comments in, because I think that's quite fun and interesting. So what have you been researching, Sam, out of interest? Do love a bit of research. I'm just checking my phone's on discreet. It's on discreet. It'll buzz if it rings. Knowing my luck, my mum or my dad or my sister or someone will phone me whilst I'm live because it's the weekend. Although my mum often phones me in the middle of the week, in the middle of the day. And she had, obviously I haven't been doing hair and makeup for the last 19 months, but she had this really great knack of calling me whenever I was on a photo shoot and in the middle of doing someone's hair or makeup. And she's like, oh, I tried calling you. Why you did not? And I'm like, yeah, I was literally in the middle of setting someone's hair or doing their lipstick. And she's like, oh, I never know what time you're working. And it's like, well, that's because I'm freelance and my job is just whenever I get work, and I could be working at 5 o'clock in the morning. I could be on location, or I could be on location at 11 o'clock at night. There's no That's freelance life when you do hair and makeup. You could be on sets anywhere, like depending on what the project is, whether it's a photo shoot, whether it's a video shoot, whether it's some sort of TV thing, you know. Stephanie, morning all, you've got this. Hello, Stephanie, lovely to see you. Plant-based, says Sam. Sam's been researching plant-based stuff. When you say plant-based, Sam, do you mean plant-based as in plants-based diet? Which is not to be confused with vegan diet. I know people do confuse the two. Plant-based diet is a diet. Veganism is an entire lifestyle. Or do you mean plant-based as in like herbs and stuff? Because, you know, me love me some of that. I keep saying I'm going to do my herbal highlight series, which has been over 2 years now, and I still haven't got that in the bag, but one day. Oh, diet, plant-based diet. Interesting. So yeah, I eat what would be classed as a plant-based diet, but it is part of my vegan lifestyle. So if you want tips on you're in the UK, aren't you, Sam? So if you want tips on good substitutions for things or recipes, I mean, I wing most of my recipes these days. I don't really follow recipes, or good websites where you can get some nice recipes. Hit me up, because I have been vegan for over 12 years and I was a veggie for 16 and a half years before that. The last time I ever ate any meat or fish or anything would have been March 1994. Wow. Essex. I thought you were in Essex, Sam. And Diane is here. Hello. Lovely to see you. Natalie says it's 10:30 p.m. Sunday night here in South Australia. Whoa. So yeah, you're coming at us from the future at the end of the weekend almost. I hope you had a lovely weekend, Natalie. That's I hope you had a nice Sunday. Doing it for health. Good for you, Sam. Although I do enjoy a bit of like vegan junk food. I have been known to enjoy a big dirty vegan burger covered in melted vegan cheese or pizza or whatever, because people always assume vegan means healthy, and I'm like, no, vegan just means no animals were harmed in the making of this food or whatever, generally, or as little or as few creatures were harmed in the making of this thing. Hello, good night to you, says Stephanie to Natalie. So anyway, I used my yantra mat for my fibro. Is that meant to be yoga? Last night for 50 minutes before going to bed. Did you just lay on it in Shavasana, or did you do like some actual yoga? What is yantra? Am I just getting mixed up? Is that like a thing with all the nails in it? I don't know, Rona. But that sounds intriguing. Let me know. My fellow fibro friend. Oh, that's alliteration. Fellow fibro friend. It sucks balls, doesn't it, Natalie? Rona. So. Oh, yes. Yes. Yummy. Okay. It's just the right temperature now. And it's just, oh, the spices in it are lovely. And it's this like Halloween pumpkin spice. And it's actually got little pumpkin shaped things in it. I'm trying to find them. Oh, okay. When they're dry, they're shaped like little pumpkins, but when they puff up from the water, when they absorb water, they sort of go all misshapen and don't look anything like pumpkins. I'll have to remember to show you next on the live, and the next live I may do the dried one, so you can see how cute the little pumpkins are in it. Aspasia Rising, hello. Hi, Kelly and everyone. Just popping in before I start unpacking boxes. Regarding vegan, have you seen the updated Linda McCartney cookbook, The Family Put Out? No, I haven't ever looked at any Linda McCartney cookbooks. Oh, it is an acupressure mat. I was wondering if it was that. Is that worth investing in? I have seen it over the internet and lots of people talking about it. I have not known anyone personally that uses it. If you say it helps for your fibro, maybe you could let me know what the brand is or where you got yours, because I'm willing to try all sorts of things, you know. I've actually been since Wednesday afternoon, I've been really exhausted. I had a medical appointment I had to go to. I got back around lunchtime and that was me done for the day. Honestly, the anxiety. Some guy on the tube on the platform literally sneezed on me and he was not wearing a mask. Like I had a 3/4 sleeve sweater on to here, obviously 3/4 sleeve, and because it was too warm, I get warm really easily, so I had my jacket on over my other arm, and I was walking down the platform towards the opposite end because I knew the carriages are usually quite empty, if not entirely empty. And this guy, I was very aware when I'm on the underground. I'm like N95 masked up, tight fit, you know, all the you know, and I was aware that someone was coming up behind me, and as he walked he sneezed, but like he didn't cover his mouth, he's not wearing a mask, and I literally felt droplets like this, and I jumped and out of shock went, Jesus fuck, like that. And he laughed. He fucking laughed after he, in the middle of a pandemic, had sneezed on me being immunocompromised and on my way to a fucking like medical appointment and already like hyper vigilant and hyper stressed because medical appointments are not fun. And yeah, and then he went and I was so shocked I couldn't even respond, other than just, I was already quite anxious anyway, having to go on the underground, and it was busier than I thought it was going to be for like 10:30 in the morning, and I was shaking already. So that just really set me over the edge, and I was already trying not to have a panic attack. And all I could do was I just got my anti-back. I have my anti-back gel, just easy to grab, a mesh pocket in my rucksack, and I like on the outside of the rucksack, and I just grabbed that and like just slathered my arm in anti-back gel and like stood out of the way against the wall. And he continued to walk down to the end of the platform, just sneezing openly. Ladies and gentlemen, and you know what people say when they say like, oh, it's just a cold. Yeah, if it's just a cold, people don't want your cold either. Maybe we should take what we've learned and put a fucking mask on as well if we have a cold or a flu or any other kind of like respiratory airborne kind of illness, because people don't want to get sick anyway. And you know, some people have caught a virus whilst also having caught the cold, or so there's like arguments about whether you can catch a cold and corona, or whether they like one can make you worse or something. I don't know. I'm like, we just don't make people sick. Like I ended up with post-viral syndrome from just like a really gnarly cold because my immune system is bobbins. So I don't even want a regular cold. That shit can floor me for weeks if it hits me hard. Just a cold, not even the flu. Don't even get me started on the flu. So there we go. That was my experience. And then I think from just the stress and just having just pushed so hard with the Halloween collection, I was really exhausted Thursday, Friday, and yesterday. But obviously I had to get my Halloween collection, the last stuff, up for Friday. So Thursday I just did what I could and edited all the photos for the collection, the last batch. And then on Friday, I made all the listings, but it was like pulling teeth. And then like yesterday, I got a bunch of stuff done in the morning with my husband. We like did a bit of tidying and vacuuming and all that boring shit, cleaned the bathroom, all that jazz. Saturday morning sort of scrub. And then I was just for the rest of the day, I was just like, oh. Today is my official rest day though. Being a Sunday, I'm already too warm. I'm sitting here with a hot water bottle on my back and I'm going, I'm too warm. I'm going to take this off because I like to have my arms out. I'm like Marisha Ray in Critical Role. I like to have my arms out. I don't mind sleeves. I'm not anti-sleeves like Marisha Ray seems to be. I don't mind them. I tend to not need them for too long. I get hot very quickly. Stephanie said, this makes me angry. Right? Like, what the hell? I'm sorry. What? I feel like I'm losing my mind. Check out Feldenkrais. I'm sure there are Feldenkrais. Yeah, no, I've heard about that, but I'm not so hot on that. I'm feeling a little bit like it can be with chiropractors. It can be a little, and I'm under the treatment of a physiotherapist. We will see. Amazon has cheap ones. They are all good. Takes a bit to get used to, but go slowly. Helps blood flow to muscles and helps sleep a bit. Wear a night shirt or you can be brave and go. Sounds wrong. Go B. Was that to go like bare, as in go naked? Butt naked? Yeah, he like literally sneezed on me, Stephanie. And then laughed when to be fair, I did jump and say, Jesus fuck. that was like the first thing that came out of my mouth, because I was already quite tense and I could like see him walking up behind, and I was sort of moving slightly out of his way because he looked like he was getting quite close, and I'm like, oh yeah, the animal thing, big pull. I'm going to also to Mars. Cool. So Sam, that's cool. How am I feeling? So actually you've Stephanie, I've answered your question. I've been resting, so literally, so from Wednesday afternoon until this morning I basically bummed about in pajamas. I did change into clean pajamas but I didn't get dressed, although, you know, I am wearing comfies today. So anyway, we're 15 minutes in, I haven't touched the tag. Living my fucking trauma of being sneezed on in the middle of a fucking pandemic. I cannot with people. Was it Sartre who said, hell is other people? Was it Sartre? Now I'm doubting myself. It wasn't Kierkegaard, was it? No, it wasn't Kierkegaard. Who said hell is other people? I'm going to need to Google that. I always thought it was Sartre. Oh, it is Sartre, yeah. I remembered something. Excellent. It's not like a quote. No, I know what it is. I know what it is. I'm just saying I view it the way I view chiropractic, where it's not, I don't know. I don't, I find it a bit pseudoscience-y. Paul, hello. Good morning for me. Good afternoon, Canberra. Good afternoon for you. Keyword, good. Tycon, hello. But yeah, I've seen some videos on it, and actually tried a couple of things from it as well. But for me, for me, my main go-tos, and one of them that I can't do at the moment because I've got an injury, is yoga, which I've been using on and off for at least 22 years now. The first time I did yoga was when I was about 18. Flotation tanks, can't do those because pandemic, and massage, and can't do those because pandemic. So the 3 things that I use to manage physically my pain, I've been unable to do, like movement wise or sort of for therapy wise. It's very frustrating. And I was just getting by with the yoga, and then whatever has been happening literally for like 10-11 months now. It's and also the yoga helps with the stress, and I've like, yeah, it sort of all feeds into itself. It's really frustrating. So yeah, anyway, so I'm doing a tag. I'm going to not look at the chat for a wee bit because I need to do the tag, and I know I'll keep squirrel at the chat. So the tag, I'm sure you've seen going around the last month, is by Dawn Michelle over at Boho Tarot, whose content is just chef's kiss. I love her videos. She always puts out great content, so I will aim to remember to link her original video down below. And I've watched one other one, which was Candy Soul and Soil's video, and I haven't watched any others. And I will probably fix that now. I try not to watch too many of a tag if I think I want to do it, because I don't want to be like swayed by other people's answers. I don't know. So yeah, if I don't think I'm going to do a tag, I will just go ham and watch loads. But you know, I am telling my husband about your experience. He immediately said that if that was him, I would have slugged him. Yeah, do you know what though? I know that I would. I don't even think I had it in me, honestly. I was so shocked, and I was already feeling quite shaken. I don't think I would have. It would have helped. Plus, he was a massive guy, and I'm like a tiny 5'2" person, and I was on the side of the tracks. He was against the wall side, so all it would take for him to shove me, and I'm on those tracks. Not something you want to do on the tube when there's a train every 60 to 90 seconds on the Victoria line. It's the most regular line on the London Underground. So anyway, I thought I would do this half and home, and basically it was meant to be an autumnal, a fall, as you say in the north of America, that yeah, it's something to inspire coziness and warmth and comfort. And so Dawn Michelle did 8 prompts for you to follow, to pick 8 decks, although she cheated on one of her own, and I know that Candy cheated on one of them. I'm not cheating. for a change on attack. I'm going to just straight up do it properly. And now some of these I feel like they could like swap places a little bit. Some of them felt a bit, some a little much of muchness, but I tried to stick to it as best I could. And actually some of the choices surprised me because I only have one Marseille deck here, which is interesting because I feel like if I am looking for evoking a certain kind of feeling or a sort of using tarot in a more sort of therapeutic healing way, I tend to go for situational or scenic carded decks like Smithwaite inspired, Smithwaite inspired, or anything that's got sort of situational. People always say illustrated. This really frustrates me as an artist and illustrator. If you if a deck, a Marseille card has 8 coins on it depicted, that is still illustrated. It's still an illustrated pip. Well, I like what Tom Benjamin says, which is situational pips, where there's a situation, or when people say scenic pips, where a scene is depicted. So I tend to say scenic or situational because they're not always the same thing, I guess. Yeah, never slug on mass transit. Yep, you got to be careful. Plus, my husband works for Transport for London, so I don't think it would go down well if his wife sort of got into trouble on the underground. Try to avoid it as best I can. Anyway, so yeah, I was surprised that I only have 8 decks. I only picked one Marseille, which goes to, and also it kind of does make sense because I've been reading Marseille and pip decks for less time than I have been reading situational or scenic scenic decks. So I guess it kind of makes sense. I'm going to grab my phone because I've got the prompts saved on a note. I copied and pasted them into a note for me to follow. And yeah, let's get stuck in. 20 minutes in. So if you don't have a channel, or if you do have a channel but you don't really want to like do a video but you want to join in, feel free to pop your responses in the chat. I'm actually going to put the questions. Let's put the questions in the bottom. So the deck that So I'm going to do this and I'm going to put it up as a question so you can answer it if you want. So the first prompt is Hearth and Home, the deck that feels like coming home. Now, I very nearly picked one of the other decks that is that I've picked in one of the other prompts, because this is the first prompt and I immediately thought of this other deck, which is actually the deck I picked last. But I actually, when I saw the final prompt, I was like, maybe actually the final one would be better for this other deck. So the deck that feels like coming home for me is the Osho Zen. I really should make a bloody pouch for it. Mine is trimmed. I trimmed mine a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, and I used the nice chunky corner rounder, and I cut the keywords off because the keywords, there was a bunch of them that I found problematic. And this is my original copy that I bought in like 1997, 1998. So I've had this a long time. This was my first ever deck. I also edged it in a number of sort of colors that sort of match the back, and it makes this beautiful sort of, almost looks like wood, doesn't it? Like the edge of a slice of countertop or something. And this deck is my home, I guess. This is where it all began for me. I can still riffle shuffle even though it's quite small. And you know, I didn't know anything about different systems. I didn't know what a Smithwaite deck was. I didn't know Thoth was a different system. I didn't know about Marseille. I'd seen them about, but I wasn't aware that there were like different kind of systems and all of the history of it. When I went to pick this deck up, I literally picked the one that I found visually most appealing to me, the one that was the prettiest. And I just got stuck straight in. I remember going home and reading the book and then getting to the back and finding the spreads and just like getting stuck in, and would just read with the, you know, using the book. That's how we learn, right? So I'll show you some of my favorite cards. Let's see. I love the Fool. And I actually did a live chat for a couple of years ago for what's it called, Tarathon, where I made an argument for the Osho Zen being actually quite close to the Smith-Waite system. It's just they've interpreted it slightly differently. So Stephanie says, I have a brand new Osho, never been shuffled. I'm re-gifting, I think. Oh, Stephanie. It's not for everyone. I know a lot of people don't actually like it. Celebration. This is the Six of Wands. So if you see, there's these little diamond shapes at the bottom, and they have different colors. So they have different they use like elements. So this is fire, which is the wands. Let's find another one. The purple is for the majors. Here, can you see? So let's see. Rainbows is pentacles. So if you can see, this is the Five of Pentacles, feeling left out and being outside from something. Can you see how that's very similar to the Smith-Waite? Let's find the other colors. We have clouds, which is the air suit, the swords. And here you can see this is the Nine of Clouds or the Nine of Swords. And this, you know, there's this, it's again, you can see the Smith-Waite in that, right? Where the woman is in the bed and she's got all the swords. And you also, you know, this, I know these striations are like panels that are being closed. This looks like it's probably a tatami room or something, but these lines gives it that sort of sword stacked above feeling. And then we'll find the water. Here we go. Here's the water. And this is obviously the cups. And this is the Two of Cups. And again, you can see, I love this depiction of the Two of Cups, where you've got these two separate trees that are blending together, and you're getting that cooperation and that co-working and that sort of blending and melding. And it's really, really, it's a really lovely deck. It's very late 80s, early 90s. Like, it has that vibe. You wouldn't see it made today unless it was being a pastiche or an homage to that era. Oh, there we go. So yeah, I'm just I can still remember the keywords though. Like the keyword for this one is creativity, and this is the Empress, which I really enjoy this depiction of the Empress now that, you know, 20 something years later, and I know so much more about the tarot system and the symbolism that goes into it and what the Rider-Waite-Smith depiction is. I can really appreciate this version of the Empress. Here with the Rebel, this is the Rebel, which is the Emperor. See, I can still remember the words. Let's see some of the other ones. Just the cards. Some of them. We have one that is the this Lovers. Let's see, the Hermit. I love the Hermit. World, like a karmic wheel for the world. So yeah, it's a real. It's the Four of Pentacles. Oh gosh, it just takes me back just like looking at it. It's the wheel. So beautiful. So yeah, this is you know, there's some darker cards in here as well. So there's the Three of Swords, so you don't get a heart stabbed through with swords, which is nice. The Two of Swords. The key word on this was schizophrenia, and I was always very uncomfortable with that. So this was one of them, you know, hanging in the balance. So yeah, there are some, so, you know, the sword, the clouds, swords have this sort of, the swords tend to have a bit of a darkness. Anyway, that's just one deck. And I'm like going on and on and on and on and on and on. An Ariston. There we go. Let's see. It's interesting because this is so many people's first deck. It never appealed to me, but so many people love it. Yeah, I mean, I did one or 2 years later, I ended up getting the Canon Reed Witches Tarot, which I still have. I've come to love it, but I mostly picked it because of the backs, honestly. I just spilled tea down myself because of course I did, because I can't. Dyspraxia. It's a thing. I do this so often. How many times have you folks seen me like spill tea, like completely miss my mouth? Like I don't know that my mouth is there. Clearly it's there. I'm making enough noise from it right now, aren't I? It is a lovely deck, Rona. I absolutely love it. Always some of it's gone on my trousers as well. Oh, good Lord. I was like, oh, my boobs is a bit cold from... Oh, good Lord. Dress me up, can't take me anywhere. I love the cards, just not into the namesake Osho. I'm having trouble getting past the history. Yeah, see, when I was younger, I knew nothing about Osho and the whole thing. I didn't find out about that until way, way later. And probably only a few years ago, in fact. I didn't know the whole thing. And I took the MasterCard out. I don't actually use the MasterCard, as in I took the credit card out. There's a card called the Master, which is Osho himself. I took that card out. I've never used it. It's never appealed to me. So, but it is a lovely deck. I do think the bones of it is actually really lovely. Wow. So let's see. Gather Together is the next one. Gather Together. And that is the deck that reminds you of family and friends. There we go. Let's pop that up there. So, the deck that makes me think of family and friends. Now, originally it would have actually been this deck, because this was the only deck I had for a couple of years. And even though I said I got the Witches Tarot, 1 or 2 years into my tarot journey, as people say, I didn't really use it. I never really jived with it. I found the Kabbalah stuff really confusing. I'd found some of the artwork jarring because YouTube didn't exist. Walkthroughs weren't a thing. And I could go on Eclectic Tarot, I think it existed by then, and see a few pictures. And there were only like 6 cards for me to look at in the shop. They had plastic folders with 6 or 9 cards, I can't remember, in the fold, and that was all you could see. You couldn't, none of this like opening up decks and having a look through like you can in Watkins these days. So I got it home and I was like, so I just continued to use this, and I read for my friends. I read for my friends at my college and at uni with this. I read for my mum's friends. I read for my mum. I read for my sister. I read for everyone with this, my stepmom. And I would sit there, with the book and just in case I needed to consult it. And so this was originally like the one that I used. But in more recent years, the deck that makes me think of family and friends is actually the Morgan Greer in a tin. And that is because this, of all my small decks, barring one other one, and I think you'll know which one, this is my most used out of the house deck. Obviously not the last 19 months, it isn't, but it's got the little riffle shuffler's bow in there. Can you see it? A little bit of a bend because I riffle shuffle like a mofo. I love it. I've done a walkthrough of this. I did a walkthrough of this years ago, where I wax lyrical about the size, the tin, the cardstock, the artwork. That just like it is, to me, it is a perfect deck. I love the pawn stashes. I love the colors. I would love a full size version of this, but I can never justify buying it because I'm like, well, if I'm going to buy a deck, I'm going to buy a deck I don't have rather than a larger version of a deck I do have. On saying that, I bought the large Halloween tarot this year, but that was a business expense because I bought it to take pictures of my Halloween pouches. But I have consequently gone on to use it this month for my Tom Benjamin's Tarot Challenge, which I have been doing, but I've been doing mostly offline because that challenge, I was like, yeah, it's going to be a bit of fluffy fun. Has been kicking my butt. Like, it is intense. And I've been feeling too soft and squishy to be putting that out there, honestly. Which Witches deck are you talking about? I'm talking about the Canon Reed Witches Tarot. I've got the guidebook right here, so you can see. Where's the guidebook? Here we go, just because the deck is in the box over there. It's the one, Ellen Cannon Reed, who died only a few years ago, I believe. And it comes, I've still got the fold out that comes with it. But this book just confused me because it goes on and on about, the Kabbalah, and I'm just like, little old 19, 20-year-old me going, ah! It's got, there's boobs, hang on. It's a very nude, there's boobs and all sorts. It's got black and white depictions of the cards. I won't show the boob one just because, It has like the angriest looking magician card. I did do a walkthrough of this where I absolutely ripped the piss out of it, and some people did not enjoy that. Some people did. I have since come to just really appreciate the deck for what it is, and this is the thing, I was going through a phase where I wasn't really, what am I doing? Flashing my boobs on the channel. Free show, folks. Yeah, I've come to really enjoy retro, and I think this was one of the decks that helped me along the way to enjoy and appreciate that deck, and also appreciate the Smith-Waite Tarot and Pix's artwork as well. But yeah, I absolutely love this one. Let's get a good porn stash for you in there. Let's see. I mean, I'm sure most of you are familiar. There's a good porn stash. He's got his guns out. And I like the close-upness of this. This guy freaks me out a bit, though. I don't know. I don't like them. Come on. Where's the porn stashes? Love this Nine of Pentacles. Gorgeous. The purples in this one. I just see the purples and the teals are just delicious. Yum, yum, yum. Come on. Where's that really? Love the death card. But yeah, this is the deck, and the way the answer the question. Oh my god, the reason that this is like my hearth and home, my family and friends, is because this is the deck that I have in my bag most of the time. I know it inside out and back to front, and I can. And this is the one that's been in the last like few years, the one that has spent the most time on like pub tables and pub bar tops over the years. Well, again, not in the last 19 months, but before then. Yeah, this very deck, I believe, was in my bag the very last pre-pandemic social engagement I went to, which was I met up for lunch with Sandra over at the Whispering Well. She came to London. We went to Hackney, which is just down the road from me. And I had this in my bag, I believe. I think I had this and one of the other decks in my bag, just in case we were going to do any readings. But yeah, I love this deck. It is a perfect deck in my mind. It can do no wrong. Oh, where was that? The Hermit in this as well. Just whole deck. I really should get the full size. I'd love a vintage version. Oh, yum. Anyway, and that's why. So because it's the one that I pull out most of the time at people's house parties and dinner parties and bars. My friend Ruby, her cocktail bar. It's gotten around. So it makes me think of all the readings I've done for my friends whilst out and about. Back when I had a social life. All right. Okay. Let's just pop that out the way. The next prompt is boop, boop, boop. Light. Oh, I got one of them wrong way around on my desk. Light up your life, which makes me think of what are they called? Oh, the Spice Girls. All the colours of the world. Oh, that's Spice Up Your Life, though, isn't it? I was a bit old for Spice Girls when they came out. I was like, oh, so I never really got in, and well, I never got into them. Light up your life. The deck that lights your way through the dark. The deck that lights your way through. Can I type? The dark. Oop. Let's just see what people have been saying about this one. The other one. Amber, hello. I got my bag and these things. Oh, I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. I'm glad you like them. That's awesome. Yay. Sun and Moon by Vanessa Descourt is my family and friends deck. Oh, nice. I don't have that one, but do you have the full-size version or do you have the tinned version? The tinned version looks so cute. I mean, the deck is cute anyway, but like just making it smaller just makes it even more cute. I thought maybe you were talking about the Witches by Ellen Dugan. No. Or the 007. Yeah, not those ones. The Canon Reed one. I ain't afraid of no ghosts, says Tycon. Love the colours of the Morgan Greer, like Jack Victoriano and his colour palette. Yeah, I guess, yeah. And those like bold tones as well. Obviously very different style of artwork, but that sort of bold, muted but bold. Does that make sense? Jewel tones? I don't know. So let me just add this other one up. Boop. So nice to see you, says. Oh, hello, Pamela. Nice to see you. Hi, everyone, too. So the deck for me, which lights my way through the dark, and I've spoken about this deck quite a bit this year. It's in a different bag. It's in the bag for the Holly Simple Tarot, but it is my Numinous Tarot. I have the first edition that comes in the large box, and this deck, it's in the really glossy cardstock. I believe the cardstock is different now. I think it's a linen cardstock. This deck is comforting. It's joyous. It's fearlessly, should I say, not fearfully, the opposite, fearlessly optimistic and supportive. It's a real, like, I see myself and my friends in it, but then it also has this fantasy element, you know, like the Next World Tarot is, I see myself and my friends in it, and it feels, even though it's like in a post-apocalyptic kind of world, it has more real grounded elements. This one feels more like D&D-ish to me. I get D&D vibes from this. And you know, everything has been changed pretty much. The names of the courts has been changed. The names of the suits has been changed. A bunch of the names of the majors, case in point, have been changed. So this is number 3, the nurturer, which originally would have been the empress. So all gendered language has been removed. And it's just a real, like, there's nothing problematic about this deck. It's just like, you can just enjoy being working with it and reading with it and the artwork. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but do you know what? I like the artwork, but it's not necessarily the artwork I would automatically go to for a deck. But I wanted this deck because I wanted an inclusive and you know, a deck that represented the world that I see around me, the world that I live in, that I move through. And actually it's become just like an absolute favorite, and I've come to absolutely adore the artwork as well. I mean, oh my god, this is an extra deck here. So this is the Numinous extra card, sorry, not an extra deck. I need to see if I can find a walkthrough of the new version and see what the card stock's like. I'm so tempted to get a copy of this just so I can have a less shiny, glossy cardstock. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, but the gloss, I'm not a fan of like really glossy cardstock. Can you see? And when I'm trying to show people, it shuffles absolutely fine. But, you know, I just love it. The pentacles are tomes. So this is the suit of tomes. More tomes here. Candles are the wands. You saw I showed you a candle before. Oh, look at this moon card. Like, the guidebook for this is great. Bells is swords for air. Vials is cups. More vials. Love it. So yeah, I have the full-size Sun of Moon, but I would like the tin. The border is black. Yes, I like the black border. I think it looks better with the black border with that on that small one. Although they could probably go with making it borderless on the mini one, because otherwise more of the artwork is being taken up with, you've got more space for the artwork. So this shuffles perfectly fine. You can hear it bridges back together nicely. And you know what? I know I've wavered on and off over gilding and obviously borders. This is clearly a borderless deck. Oh, God, I love it. Gotta love a riffle shuffle. But you know what? Considering how much abuse this deck gets with the riffle shuffling and the being bridged back together, the riffle shuffler's bow is not that bad on it. And the gilding, like usually the corners on gilding really goes, like my Tarot Illuminati, the gilding on that, on the edges is like pretty much gone. But this hasn't, there's a couple of chips, but if you can see, but like for the most part it's really held up, and I'm quite surprised. But maybe because it's just, you know, the Tarot Illuminati that I have is a mass market and this is an indie deck, so maybe it's just a really good quality. But this is one of the decks I've used the most this year, and I'm like, why are you not chipping? Especially the way that I shuffle it, although I'm inclined to believe that overhand shuffling will chip gilding quicker, in my opinion, because like I'm quite clumsy, so when I overhand shuffle, I find that like I'm dinging the cards together, whereas when I'm like, you know, riffle shuffling, they're not dinging together like that. They're gently swooshing together. There we go. Oh, yes, so nice. So there we go. Let's see what people are saying. Morgan Greer is one of my faves, says Stephanie. People's song Light Up My Life makes me feel so alive. Cool. I must grab this Light Up Your Life deck. Oh, what, the Numinous? Yeah, I think the second or third edition is being sold at the moment. I think. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, I love this deck. Oh God, like just look at the colors. Oh, it's so delicious. I just cannot look at this artwork. Sorry, it's just anyway. Let's get on to the next one. Stephanie says, my Light Up Life deck, Tower of the Divine. It's beautiful and imaginative. You learn so much about folk tales. Yeah, that one looks really cool as well. I think I just got stressed out. It's a bit like the Mythic Tarot because there's a story for every card. And I'm like, too much to remember. Anyway, let's go on to the next question, which is rainy days. The deck you want to curl up with on a rainy day. I'm just getting rid of the others. So let's pop that in here. Rainy days. The deck you want to curl up with on a rainy day. Doop, 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 doop. I just brought hello, Alicia. Is it Alicia? Brought the Marigold Tarot. Can't wait to see it in person. That deck, yeah, that deck's the one. That's the one with the black, with the gold, and all the sort of skeletal creature characters in every single card. Yeah, that one looks really beautiful. I've never been drawn to get it, but I really do admire how beautiful it is. And I know that a lot of people really love it. Like I know that Mixtress Ray, that's one of her all-time favorite decks as well. She talks about that one a lot, the Marigold. I believe she has like backup copies and stuff. So for me, the deck I want to curl up with, Sasarai Beto by Stasia Barrington. I have I believe the second edition. No, it's not a second edition because I'm with Katie Flowers on this because people say it's a second edition. It's not a second edition unless you've changed something of the artwork and what have you. It's a second printing because that's how it works with books, right? So this is, Stasia has used the correct term where it says printing two. Can you see there? Just about the Roman numerals. Again, I believe that Stasia has done editions now where the book fits in the box, and I think the cardstock is a linen cardstock. It's not glossy, and I'm like, if I could just swap these last couple of decks for like the linen cardstock and decks that fit in the box, I would be. But you know, in a perfect world. But yeah, mine is the Sasarai Beta. I love the backs. One of my favorite backs on a deck ever. And you can see this has got quite the riffle shuffler's bow. And this, up until I started really using, can you see that? The Numinous Tarot more regularly this year. This always shows up in my top favorite decks. And I deliberately had to put this deck away for a while because I kept pulling it out. And I was like, I have so many decks. Stop picking the same decks when you want a reading. And I get it, right? Because it's comforting. And me answering this question with this deck makes sense because it's one of those decks that it feels like it's a bright, shining light like this one. But this one is like super positive, like happy, yay, yay, yay. Whereas this one has more cozy, like even just when I think about this deck, and I don't know if it's because it's the warm brown backs, the warm tones, and the like gold, and I feel cozy. There's not many cool tones in this deck. It's a very warm toned deck, color wise, art wise. Here's the sun, which is amazing. No annoying naked baby. 9 of Wands. I know lots of people don't like this 9 of Wands. I love this 9 of Wands. The people in this, especially in the court cards, and I think this is one of the reasons, like this Queen of Cups, I love that there is age diversity, that you see older people depicted in this deck. It just, look at this campfire, and you can just see the legs poking out at the bottom. There's these friends, they're sitting around a campfire, and you've got all the cups, and they're just drinking and telling stories and warming their toes by the fire. Let's find this Jinna, so from Rogue One. You will never tell me otherwise on that one. Like that for me is a cup of green tea. And it's not all positive. You've got the Eight of Swords. There's a definite feeling of, oppression and I've just noticed there's a little bit of a bend in the top card there because I'm rough with my cards. Here's the Knight of Cups. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, this is Matt Mercer, but when he's not got a moustache or a beard. And he's got like the Dungeon Master's Guide under his arm, I mean. Hi, Shauna, lovely to see you. What a nice surprise. Look at this Knight of Pentacles. He has been like busy working away, and he's just stopping to have a little bit of a break. Wipe his brow. Bit of a silver fox. I know he's got slight sort of salt and pepper vibes going on there. I love this Eight of Cups. I feel like this might be me when things finally, when I feel that it is finally safe enough for me to start resuming like actual life. All of this hair may go because it's not been cut since the end of January 2020. It's the longest my hair's been in 15 years. This Queen of Pentacles, there is a bit of nipple in this. So if you are offended by nipples, who knows why? No, but like, look away now. Shield thine eyes. Boobs. So yeah, I love this Queen of Pentacles with the rabbits. Like, you see what I mean about this cozy? And there's like the pip. I love the pippish cards. More of the ones seem pippish than like other suits. Let's find this. I love this Six of Swords. This like holding this breath of air after like being underwater. I cannot even. King of Swords. So cute. For me, this is like Link from Legends of Zelda. Look at this Page of Wands. She's ready to get shit done. I just like look at that. See, so it's not all like cozy and this Ace of Pentacles. I just cannot. Anyway. This guy is one of my favorites. And where's the Fool? Hang on. I know that people hate the Fool, but I fucking love him. Where is he? He freaks people out, but I adore him. He is my little friend. This guy. This to me personifies the idea of you are only as young or old as you feel, and that you must constantly maintain a sense of childlike, not childish, childlike wonder and curiosity with the world. To me, like, I know loads of people hate that. I think they're missing the point of this card, like this, what the message of that card is. I don't love it. And like this Nine of Cups, again, sorry, boobs. And this guy just breaks my heart. I just can't anyway, because I'm spending too long. But can you see how you just want to cozy up and have these like characters come and like talk to you? Just anyway, so I just want to curl up with this deck on a rainy day, which I have actually done on many occasions. So that is number 4. I'm only halfway through and I've been on for nearly an hour. Jesus fuck. Okay, this is an exquisite deck. The Sasarai Beta Tarot is a beautiful friend, isn't it? Just I love the Emperor. And what's the one where the woman is cutting her hair off, like the Eight of Cups? Maybe that's the one I've already shown, so you've seen that one. My curl up rainy deck would be the Witch's Wisdom. I love those lighted paths. Yeah, I saw that really had a moment, didn't it? This time last year, I believe. I think it was the mages that put me off, the way that they've done the mages. But I can appreciate the artwork for sure. But yeah, I couldn't. Shadowscapes for Stephanie for rainy day. I just wish they would like make a bigger version That is literally the only thing that stops me from buying that deck, is the fact that the artwork is so small and then it's in a standard size. Like, are you listening to people? How many times has the community been like, make a bigger version, we'll buy it? And they're like, no. Like, fine, don't have my money then. It's on my wish list, says Alicia. I like the cool card because it harkens back to the traditional image of the fool. Yeah, like the you get that sort of, because I know that often you get the actual jester, the court jester vibe of the original fool, or the fool from the Marseille, where he's sort of skipping along and you've got the dog having a go at the old jewels, crown jewels, family jewels. Yeah, it's small, isn't it, Stephanie? It's like, just make it bigger. Okay, so the next one is Harvest Nights, the deck that evokes harvest vibes or bonfire nights. So let me pop that in here. Harvest Nights, the deck that evokes harvest vibes or bonfire nights. So we actually have a literal bonfire night here in the UK. We have, on the 5th of November, we have Guy Fawkes Night, bonfire night, where we burn effigies of Guy Fawkes, who tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament, and he got caught as long with his co-conspirators and was burnt to death at the stake as punishment. Although the older I get, I love it when people go, the older you get, the more right-wing you'll get, the more conservative you get. And I'm like, bitch, if anything, the older I get, the more left-wing and fucking freestyling liberal, like, anarchist I get. I'm like, burn that shit down! The whole system needs overhauling. Burn it down! The system is broken. So I'm like, why are we like, maybe we should be like, which is, I guess, also part of, the V for Vendetta, the graphic novel and the film, which is the point of V, with the whole, like, maybe Guy Fawkes was onto something. But I almost picked the Raven's Prophecy, but I feel like I would be lying, because ever since I edged that deck in this bloody pen, which I have right here to hand, it sticks so badly. And I have used the powders to, like, on the edges to, like, unstickify it, and it sort of works for a wee bit, and then it's almost like the paint pen absorbs that powder I've put on, and then it becomes sticky again. I really need to buy another version and just trim it again and edge it in black pen and not worry about using fancy copper. So I don't use it as much as I would like, because it's hard to shuffle, it gets stuck and it's all clumpy. And so I do still use it, but just it's not a go-to for me. But if I hadn't have taken, because I think I edged it in orange or black, I can't remember, and then I was like, I'll do it in this to match the foil backs that I put on it. So yeah, ever since then I don't really use it as much. So let's see, someone's putting, oh, hello Ellie, lovely to see you. Green Witch for you. I'm the same way. The older I get, the more I realize we have to work for the collective, right? And seeing this, like with this pandemic, and just seeing how loads of people are just getting on with their lives and leaving those of us that are like clinically vulnerable or disabled or whatever, just like behind as well. It's like, okay, I'll just stay here in my flat, I guess, and like another 19 months while you all have at it. It's the government, though. The government have like failed massively. Tony, hello. I heard recently that it was a religious retaliation. Have you heard anything like this? In what sense? For Guy Fawkes? For what I can't remember the story now. Like, as far as I knew, it was to do with I mean, maybe was it like parliamentarians against royalists? I can't remember. It's been so long since I've heard the actual story. Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to look it up, honestly. Look at me being a Brit, and I'm like, I don't know. We should both know it, shouldn't we, Tony? Anyway, so my answer to this question is the one that I do use more, which is the Golden Thread Tarot by Tina Gong over at Labyrinthos. This is a plastic deck. So it's naturally got the black all the way through because it is just plastic. I didn't need to edge this. And it will never chip because it's plastic. Black plastic all the way through. It shuffles like a dream. Oh my God. My plastic decks. I only have 2 plastic decks, and they're both, look at this. Oh my God. They are both Labyrinthos. So I have this one, and then I was very kindly gifted a couple of years ago the seventh sphere Marseille. Oh, I'm lying, because they also gifted me the 7th sphere Lenormand, which is also plastic. But again, I don't use that as much because it doesn't have multiple. It has an anima and animus card, but it doesn't have, like, you don't have 2, like you only have the opposite gendered sex cards. There's no like extras, and that makes a Lenormand limiting for me to use, because I live in a very queer world. A lot of my friends are queer. I have queer family members, like big old like lefty London queer folk. So yeah, I need, and like loads of my friends are non-binary or trans. So I need, or gay or lesbian, I need, I need those extra cards. So I don't get it. So that's why I forgot I have 3, not 2 plastic decks. Wow. I over-explain everything. I've since learned that might be a neurodivergent thing. Over-explaining, or like a trauma response. So. Let's see. I am the same way. Oh, I've read that one. Yeah. Yeah, Guy Fawkes, I think, was setting light to Catholic religious sect being of a pagan origin. Of course, I cannot remember where I got this info. Oh, that's interesting. I have to check them out. We will have to see. Appears that Fawkes was a Catholic and they were under Protestant rule, so it was a Catholic rebellion. Oh, Enchanted Forest, Stephanie. Good choice. Yeah, it's one of those decks that I hum and haw about getting, but like the fairies in it are very like la 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 la, and I'm very of the Brian Froud fairies will fuck your shit up Irish like having grown up with like some of the stories my gran told me about the fae. I'm like, they ain't friendly, cute Victorian fairy. So I'm like, I can appreciate the cute fairies, but at the same time I'm like, fairies are mean. And it sort of puts, and it's very sort of story. I know it's very story, but if I can get over that, then maybe one day I will. I love that white stag card. It's gorgeous. But anyway, the reason what this one is, this deck benefits from being read in ambient light at night time. I mean, I've got my ring light there, so it's picking it up really nicely. It's like circuitry. It's Smithway. It does do its own thing in a couple of cards. But, oh, look at this. Isn't it? This is the 2nd edition. The 1st edition was on cardstock, and they couldn't quite get the gold, this sort of foiling quite right. So, but this card read under candlelight, the way the candlelight, because you can use low lighting, that's fine, but I've really found that if you just light a bunch of candles and do readings in that, and the way the flickering candles dance off the metallic, it's just magic. Honestly, it's magic. I remember doing one particular reading for a friend of mine, and I'd lit a bunch of candles and like set the scene, bit of mister spray, got a whole thing going on, and did a reading with this card. And even she was like, this deck is like, oh my goodness. She was having a moment like with how magical it all felt with the light dancing off of the artwork, off of the cards. Just love it. So yeah, Rona says the Hidden Realm. Yeah, the Hidden Realm. I can see that one to have the Hidden Realm. There's another one, I think. And the Brian Froud Fairies Oracle, I could see as like a answering this prompt as well. So that's deck number 5. 3 more to go. Let's see. I'm just gonna delete these so I don't. So the next one is Handmade with Love, the deck that feels like a homespun gift. Hello, Heather. Lovely to see you. Handmade with Love, the deck that feels like a homespun gift. I think I can hear my husband getting home from walking Nomi. Yeah, I can hear him talking to Nomi, Dr. Nomi. I use the Labyrinthos app to help me learn cards. Yeah, it's really cool, isn't it? Is it Forhana? I don't know how to say that, but that deck looks stunning. And I've seen that the creators' previous decks. I think they made the Crow's Tarot or Crow's Magic Tarot. I can't remember the title. A couple of other decks, and they've never really appealed to me. But this particular deck, Pamela, that you're mentioning, I think is it's beautiful. I haven't looked at any walkthroughs yet because I'm like, oh god, because I'm not buying any more decks at the moment. But yeah, it's stunning. Cute fairies scare me. I think of them as fey trap for adults who don't pay attention. Well, I think they just got defanged by the Victorians, didn't they? Brian Froud's art is amazing. Are you saying that English marginalised the power of the Celtic faith? They defanged it because there was this whole sort of Celtic revival during the Victorian era where they were, romanticizing. It happened with Scotland. There was this romantic revival of Scotland, which wasn't quite true to how things really were. After they had completely wiped out the clans and ruined the Highlands, the English thought, yes, let's romanticize Scotland. I saw a really excellent exhibition about it at the Museum of Scotland in Edinburgh, National Museum of Scotland in Edinburgh, a couple of years ago when I went up there, which was all about how it was called Romanticizing Scotland or something, and about how it sort of went against the reality of the Highlands and stuff. But then sort of during the later Victorian years, then there was this sort of Irish sort of romanticization as well with regards to sort of Irish folk tales and fae folk, and I think that's where you start getting those Victorian fairies and that kind of stuff, because the English love to romanticize cultures that they brutalize and what's the word I'm looking for? Colonize, yes, and just take what they want and then bastardize it. So, do you like it, Pamela? It's been tempting me, says Shauna. Shauna, yeah. Let's see. Who else? Just checking. Oh, I need to add this back in. There we go. So can people see? Please check out Truth in Story. Yeah, I'm saving that one. It's because Kelly does like really good walkthroughs, but she has this real knack of making me like actually just want to get the deck then, and I'm like, no. I'm not gonna get pulled in. I love Brett Manning too, Heather. Oh my god, I love her artwork. I'm so pleased someone else knows her work. I love her work, and I've been following her for several years. I adore her stuff. I love how like spooky she is. I adore her art style, her subject matter, just everything. And she did a really great interview with Witches of the End Times podcast, which I really, really enjoyed, where she talks about her art and how like the spooky side of things and witchcraft, and so much fun. Yes, I follow her on Instagram. I love her. I will do that because she is awesome sauce. The creator has a wonderful walkthrough of is it Foxara on her channel? Yes, conquerors usually disempower the cultures they conquer in literature and religion, as well as financially and politically. Yeah, and rewrite history as well, right? Walter Scott gave romanticism to Scotland. Indeed, he did, Rona. You are absolutely correct. And they actually touched upon that quite a bit in the exhibition that I saw at Edinburgh. Did you see that exhibition at all, Rona? It was so good. I was in there for like three and a half hours, just like reading everything, and like just really, really enjoyed it. I'm such a nerd. When I go to like exhibitions, I will like look at every single thing and try and read like every single little plaque. Like and I take my sketchbook and everything. It's like a whole thing. Oh, but anyway, okay. So my one that feels like a homespun gift, get on with it, Kelly, is the Tarot Sereine. Could also say maybe the Marshmallow Marseille, but I'm saying the Tarot Sereine because of Serene or Siren, because this is the one that I used more this year over the Marshmallow, especially during the summer, because hello, mermen, mer people. Yeah, look up Brett Manning. Her work is amazing. But every deck that I'm showing you, I'm like riff or shut. I have a problem. But yeah. Yeah, do you know what, Tony? That's why I like freaked out when my friend. I was making a pouch for my friend's copy because they've got an original 90s version from when they were 13, so their copy's nearly 30 years old. I think they got it in 93, 94, and I was like, oh, and then I was looking it up and it was really hard to get a hold of. I couldn't find it anywhere. I had to really hunt for it, and managed to get hold of a new copy finally, and for a good price, for like £15.50 or something. But yeah, it was really, I was like, and that's why I was like, oh, this one looks like it's dwindling. So I'm glad I got it, and I was like, I will save it for posterity, and I will, I'll save it and sell it on as like a nest egg. And then I'm like, who am I kidding? And I've been using it, and I really, really love it. I'm so glad I opened it. Like, it's such a cute deck. Really lovely artwork, really lovely just vibes. I don't usually use that word that often, but real kick out of her personality and quirkiness. I have to find the interview. Yeah, check it out. Real Witches of End Times podcast. Just Google that and it'll come up. The podcast should come up. Beautiful artwork. Yeah. What's the name of her channel? She doesn't have a Brett channel. Brett Manning doesn't have a channel. Or are you talking about someone else, the creator of the deck? We crossed wires. But yeah, the reason this feels like a homespun gift is I just love the hand-drawn quality of this. And again, you can then also apply this to the Marshmallow Marseille, because you can see the line work, you can see the pen work. It's got a wonkiness to it. It's not, there's no attempt for it to be perfect or symmetrical. It just is what it is. And that makes it charming and sweet. And yeah, it just looks like home drawn vibes. The other deck I almost picked, but I wanted to stick to just tarot for this, was the Empty Cup Oracle, again by Stasia Barrington, who made the Sasarai Bito tarot, because the artwork on that has this sort of watercolor, sort of like inky quality to it, which looks very loose and sort of comforting and simple, and has this like homespun feel about it as well. But I use this deck a lot more because it's a tarot, and I use tarot a lot more than I do Oracle. So let's find some more of the people cards for you. Hang on. I love this magician. I love this Two of Pentacles, Two of Coins with the eels. The court cards in this deck just are so good. But yeah, look at these. Oh my god, King of Wands. What's not to love? I mean, really. Look at these knights. Look at this death. It's just so happy making. It just makes me happy, this deck. And I love the sort of watery, sort of iridescent back. So yes, this one is one of my faves. This has a handmade feel, and it fits so nicely in my hand as well because it's small. So I really enjoy that. Susan, hello. Lovely to see you. I like the Tarot of the Abyss drawing, says Rona. Yeah, I mean, I do like the artwork. I've not looked at a full walkthrough of that deck, but I think because I've got the Tarot of Darkness and Light. No, the Lightness of Dark Tarot, sorry, which for me feels that. I know it's a different style of artwork, but it scratches a similar itch on that with that, if that makes sense. Okay, so the next prompt, is thankful, grateful, blessed. Not gonna lie, this prompt is a little bit like hashtag good vibes only for me. I'm a bit like, it makes me go, oh, my little gnarly goth heart is like, huh. But thankful, grateful, blessed, we're gonna do it. I can get over it. Let's type the prompt in for you folks who want to join in and type your responses in the chat. Thankful, grateful, hashtag blessed. I'm just like, no. Sorry, Dawn Michelle, I don't mean to. It's a great tag, but I'm just a grumpy old Brit that's like, nah. We don't do this kind of like hashtag blessed thing very well. We're very like stiff upper lip in that sense. We're like, that. Does Rona know what I mean? Rona being a Brit, being a Scots. The deck. Oh, you appreciate. Oh, can I try? Appreciate the good times. Okay, hello, Kristen. Lovely. And Joey. Homely deck I have is Runes of Modern Life. Looks like a teenager did it. I've not heard of that one before, Joey. Lovely to see you, Kristen, coming in here as well. You are most welcome. So yeah, let's just do is the next World Tarot. Not for the reason you'd think, as in that it makes me feel grateful for what I have, and it does. But the main reason is the associations I have with this deck. I was going to do, or I did a deck swap with another tarot tuber. Anna Teresa, Ladybird Art and Tarot. She is lovely, and she said, "Let's do a deck swap," because she had the independent Next World Tarot. But it wasn't doing anything for her, and she said, "Let's do a deck swap." And there was a couple of mass market decks that she wanted, so I can't remember, but I purchased those, and she sent me this because we worked out it would have worked out the same price wise. So I sent my package off and she got hers. She sent my package with this and a whole bunch. She's an artist as well, and apparently she put loads of other goodies in it and her handmade art and all sorts of stuff. Bless her. And it went missing and it never ever turned up. And this is like 3 years ago now. And I was like, oh no. And I felt more bad for her because she had sent an indie deck that had gone missing. And I was sad because I believe this had already gone out of print and there was no getting a hold of it. And there was no it having been picked up mass market. That was a bit of a ways down the line. So I was like, I guess I'm never going to get this deck unless someone else is getting rid of it and I do a trade or I buy it secondhand from someone, which I was willing to do. And then a certain Mr. Simon at the Hermit's Cave took it upon himself to post this as a surprise, from what I remember. I don't think, because I burst out crying when I opened the box and was like, oh my God. He sent it and went, you can have my copy, the indie copy. And it made me do an ugly cry. To have him, such a lovely gesture. I've been watching too much Campaign 2 of Critical Role. If you know, you know. It was such a lovely gesture that I was just like, I'm so grateful for friends that do stuff like this, that just surprise you in the loveliest, sweetest way. Like, this wasn't a cheap deck to get from the States. And he gave me his copy and he was like, have it. You will appreciate it so much more than me. I know you wanted it for ages and you couldn't get a hold of I couldn't get a hold of it. And originally when they were selling the indie versions. And so, so this makes me think of Simon and just how lovely people in the community can be. And it made me do an ugly cry, but it's such an amazing deck. It has since been picked up mass market. And there's a pocket version. I really want to get the pocket version because can you imagine? This deck is a bit too big for me to take out for friends, reading with friends. Again, not that that's an issue right now, but when I eventually get back out into the world, I'd love to have a smaller version to be able to read for my friends. Again, for the same reason that I love the Numinous Tarot is because I see the people in my life reflected in it and they'll see themselves in it, and I think that's really important. I know some people say they don't need to see themselves in decks, and I didn't necessarily think that I needed to, says the white woman that can literally use the Smith weight. But what I mean is people that are larger bodied, people that are disabled, people that, and then seeing queerness, seeing same-sex couples or people along the gender spectrum. That was important to me, and to also see my friends and the people around me, my community. I realized how important it was when I started seeing decks that showed that, I get so much more from it than these like cold, esoteric. For me, I say cold and esoteric, and I don't mean that esoteric decks are cold, but they have a certain stoniness to them that I can enjoy reading to an extent, but it's decks like this that really hit me in the, like different decks work for different readings. I will use more esoteric decks for certain things, but if I'm trying to like get to the bottom of something nitty gritty, I'm not using I'm not using the alchemical tarot. I'm not using the Smith Waite even a lot of the time. I'm using this. I'm using the Sasarai Beto. I'm using the Numinous Tarot, you know. I'm using those inclusive decks. I'd love to see some more inclusive, like Marseille decks and Pip decks coming up. I believe the Fifth Spirit Tarot has a sort of quite Pippish quality to it. But I missed the boat on that one. I wonder if that'll get picked up mass market. Again, though, that comes with its own problems, doesn't it, with regards to publishers being problematic. And let's just have a quick look. Jadzia Dax, hello, how are you? I'm okay. I am getting hungry though, and I've just realised why, because it's lunchtime. Thankfully, this is the last deck, so I guess I need a deck full of Dungeons and Disease to prompt Blessed. Huh? I need a deck full of Dungeons and Disease to prompt Blessed. Brett Manning leggings, yeah, and she did that dressing gown as well a couple of years ago, or last year, which is really cool. How sweet of him. Wonderful to have people like that in your life. Yeah, Six of Pentacles all around. Just so sweet. One of many lovely gifts Simon has given me. I found MJ's tarot. Oh, it was MJ McCullonan. Oh, okay, that's what you were looking for, Shauna. Okay. It feels good to be included, being in a large body myself, says Heather. Simon gives me the warm and fuzzies. So gracious and calming. Yeah. Oh, Shauna. Yeah. I met up with him for the first time. It will be 4 years in January. 4 years ago. It's gone very quick. No, February. 6th of February, I believe it was. 6th of February 2018. I'd not long shaved off all my hair. So my hair was really, really short. Look at it now. Whee! For me, it doesn't stop me from connecting, but when you can see yourself reflected touches the soul, says Amber the Page. Yeah, like for me, I find like obviously we use different decks for different things, right? So for me, the alchemical tarot, I'm not going to pull it out if I've got like a really sort of traumatic thing I'm trying to explore. It feels like it's it has a more of a distance to it for me, for example. Do you know what I mean? Like I know I might use the Numinous Tarot or the Next World Tarot if I need a bit more of a, you know, something a bit more comforting. Yes, I know. Very exciting. Check that out. I know. I like how Everyday Enchantment shows real. Yeah, that's another one. That's is it Poppy Palin did that one? Another one I keep meaning to pick up, because again, I can literally see London in that deck. Like I can see my city in that deck, and I'm like, I should get it. I should get it. So I think I'm up to date with the chat. So let's go for the next one, which is comfy and cozy. I'm sorry, I'm spelling it the UK way. The deck that is always there for you. Deck that is always there for you. Does anyone want to take a guess what my comfy and cozy deck might be? Just leave it for a second. I love DSN. DSN? DSN? Am I missing something? DSN. What's DSN? Oh my God. Am I going to be really like smacking my head once I see? Tony says, Susan says, I'm afraid it is not the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle. I could see why you would think that, but I believe you might have been watching my channel maybe for a little less. Anyone? Oh, Deep Space DS9. Oh, do you know why? Because I shorten it to this. If you'd done that, I would have known what you meant, because I call it DS9. And then there's obviously, which is my favorite, although also I'm very much loving. Yes, Trek nerds unite. So yeah, so those of you that have been watching my channel for a long time will know. Laura, hello. Lovely to see you. Will know that Susan's got my number. It's the Tarot of the Magical Forest. And it's funny that Laura popped in just as said this, because Laura won one of my Magical Forest giveaways where I trimmed and edged a copy of the Magical Forest and made a pouch for it and sent it. And oh my God, Laura, when I see like your version of the pouch that I sent you compared to how my pouches are now, I cringe, because they have improved so much. I use better felt, my stitching, hand sewing is better, like everything is better. And I'm like, I feel really bad that you've got like all the check all the time, says Laura. Yes. Rainanu, the Tarot of the Magical Forest. This deck, as the kids would say, is bae. Like I finally made a decent pouch for it, because I had an old pouch that was falling apart, and it was the first ever pouch that I made. This is the deck that started it all off, folks. Tarot of the Magical Forest. I put like a little oak leaf on the so cute. But this deck, I trimmed it because the multiple languages were driving me up the wall. I edged it. I used my chunky corner rounder because I feel like it needed a soft, large round to go with the soft coziness of this. And this deck, actually, I have to, like, it gives simultaneously gives me cute aggression and makes me want to cry. Like my eyes are welling up just looking at the artwork. Like, what the fuck? This deck is always here for me. I did have to put it away for a while because, again, like the Sassy Burrito, or the Sassy Burrito as Kelly Fitz coined, I was always grabbing it, and I had to stop and use some of my other decks. The Bondage Poodles, you know, I like my Bondage Poodles. In the Devil. Let's get some of my favorites. Let's pull some of the I love this world card. Oh my God. And I know some people really don't like this deck because they're like, they cannot with the like weird eyes. And some people said, I see someone comment saying on another video that they feel like all these animals being kept hostage, but that's not how I see this deck at all. I think they're all just tripping balls. They're all like, you know, when you're like peeling off your face and you're like, well, maybe you don't know. And you're like chewing your tongue off and your like pupils are like massive and you're like, I'm like, they're all just loved up on Mandy. That's what it is. It's fine. That's what's going on. Let me find. With the little pull along wooden dog toy. I had one of these toys when I was a kid. And he's holding I think it's is it the magician? He's holding something with a rabbit on him. I just cannot. This this deck. Let me find. I'm pretty sure it's the magician in the card that the hanged bat is. I cannot even. I think I did an in-depth deck review of this. I think I might have taken it down, but I talk about how clever I love that this poor cat his little arms can't even cover his eyes. It's like, they're too short. It has my favorite hermit card of all time, and he has a nickname, and which sign of the Hermit's Cave has adopted as well. And it has my favorite strength card of all time. Let me find. And one of my favorite sun cards, because look, it's a Joey in the pouch. It's not an annoying naked baby on a horse. So this is acceptable. I will have this. Hermie, the polar bear. Oh my God. I cannot. Look at his little face. Look at it. I cannot. The cute aggression. And this strength card just breaks my heart. Look at the love in this card. Do you see what I mean? Look at the cute aggression. So Hermie, my little boy Hermie, yeah, Shona. I cannot do. I just want to cry and like squeeze them at the same time. So this deck is always here for me. This was bought for me by my husband back in Christmas 2015, I think. So I had this like 5 or 6 years, and I can still the ruffle shuffle. Why don't we call it ruffle shuffling? That's so much more easy to say. Ruffle shuffle, ruffle shuffle, ruffle shuffle, ruffle shuffle, riffle shuffle, riffle shuffle, riffle. So yeah. See, easy peasy. You are the reason I bought this deck. I absolutely love this, Stephanie. Yeah, I think I have enabled a few people to buy this deck, and then some people get it, and then they're like, "Oh no, I hate it," and I'm like, "I'm really sorry," because obviously I'm like, "I love it so much," and people are like, "I need to know what the deal is with this deck," and then they buy it and they're like, "Oh no, these animals look traumatized," or they're like, "Oh no, it's too cute," or "Oh no, I don't like anthropomorphized animals," and I'm like, if you don't like cute stuff, if you don't like anthropomorphized animals, if you think they look traumatized, if you don't like soft wishy-washy colors, I don't know, if you're not prepared to trim it, because I think it comes alive when you trim it won't be for you. And I love that it's called the Tower of the Magical Forest. And I know I joke about this all the time. There is not a single forest in this bastard deck. The forest is on the back. That's it. I love the back instantly. It's reversible and yummy, and I love it. But yeah, this is my husband bought this for me, so there's that, you know, association. It really, this and the Tarot Illuminati really helped sort of hammer down, really nail down the Smith-Waite system and artwork in my brain, because obviously, like I said, I'd come from an Osho Zen beginnings many years before, and this, because I trimmed it, it became my like travel deck before I got the Morgan Greer in a tin. I had this for well over a year before I got the Morgan Greer in a tin. So this was my go-to like travel deck as well, because it's quite small. So yeah. Anyway, let's see if I'm up to date. Magical Forest is so adorable, and I always see Simon as that exact. Says Pamela. It's a sweet deck. Kelly pouches on my face, says Shauna. Oh, thank you. I have a pirate pouch coming. A pirate pouch. Oh, you got the doobly. This the Can I has words? The did you get a Skull and Crossbones one? Always for me, there's a Spacious Tarot. Do you know what? I really wish I bloody bought that Spacious Tarot, because it's stunning. I love the way Katie Flowers talks about it. She really sort of made me go, oh man, I should have pulled the trigger on that one when it was available on Little Red Tarot. So yeah, if you were talking about the pirate, the Skull and Crossbones, Shauna. But on speaking of Skull and Crossbones, shameless self-plug before I go and do myself some lunch. I still have 2 pouches left in my shop that have not sold. So for those of you that are always like, Kelly Bear pouches sell out too quickly, they when I do regular job drops, they tend to not completely sell out straight away. They do tend to be at least 2 or 3 left over. Like when I reopened my shop for Halloween, there were 3 pouches in there that were from the summer that never sold, and then I put my shop on holiday mode, so they were still sitting there. So they don't always sell out. They did at the beginning when I came back in March selling pouches, because I'd had a break for a year and people, you know, wanted them. But I think most people that want Kelly Bear pouches have them now. So I think when I do my next updates. So yeah, there is a lilac one with it's not showing up on the camera. This is like neon highlighter. It's basically the same color as this highlighter pen. So if you can, obviously it's looking really dull on here, but you know what a neon highlighter this is, and maybe that's why people don't like the weird colors. And then like the chartreuse stitching, and then it's got like neon green on the inside and a Skull and Crossbones. I just couldn't, because I was inspired by like poison and, you know, like slime and toxicity, like toxic. So for me, it was like that neon, danger. So that's why I did that colorway. And then there's a burnt orange with the lime green glitter ribbon and a Skull and Crossbones, and then it's got the lavender on the inside. So those 2 are still available alongside earrings and brooches, like coffins and ghosts and bleeding hearts and all that good stuff. So those are still there for your spooky season needs. Shameless self-plug. I will not apologize. So yeah, there are some still available. And I will be doing another shop drop somewhere. It'll either be 2 weeks or 3 weeks time. It depends on how much other stuff I get done, because I've got some orders to process from Friday. Tarot Illuminati is ace. The people seem Dr. Frankenstein got them in. Yeah, right. I agree. Like the heads are like disproportionate to the bodies, and like it's like visual vomit. There's like everything, including the kitchen sink and last year's Christmas tree, and like the reading lamp and the sofa. Like everything is in it. But it works. That orange lavender would look good on Antique Anatomy, which is the deck I ordered another pouch for this month. Do you know what, though? Do you have the mass market Antique Anatomy? I think you have the original indie version, though, Laura, don't you? Because the mass market Antique Anatomy is quite small as a deck, and because the cardstock's quite thin, it's also quite, it's not as deep as most decks. So actually I do have a custom pouch. Oh, I thought so. That's what I thought. So I figured it would probably fit okay because it'll be chunkier. But yeah, the if you're looking for the mass market pouch for a mass market Antique Anatomy tarot, then my standard size pouches would be far too big and it will just rattle around. And I've seen a couple of people have bought pouches and they've put decks in and the decks are actually rattling around in there. I try to make pouches so they, like, this is made custom made for the trimmed magical forest. Can you see how it fits exactly in? Like it fits snugly around the deck. There's very little wiggle room, and that's deliberate because I don't want it wiggling around like it would if it was in a drawstring bag. And that's why I also do the ribbon that goes around, because I want to hold the cards together. I want to keep the flap closed, but I want to keep because if your deck is a little bit too small for the pouch, you can at least compensate for that by wrapping it nice and tight with the ribbon and holding your cards together, and then all the soft edges are going to stop it getting dinged up on the corners, right? Whereas if I just put like a button or something or a popper, it's still going to wiggle around. Like a popper is fine or a button is fine. Because I have played around with other closures, it's fine if the deck fits perfectly because it's not going to wiggle around as much. So I like the rust and lime one. Yeah, I love this as well. Like I love this. This lime is like a real on the cusp of chartreuse lime. It's a really interesting color. It's very yummy. I can taste it. Like, Jamie, hello. Lovely to see you. One of my pouches on slightly too small oracle deck. It's fine. If it bothered me, I'd stick a little piece of felt in to pad it out. That's a good point. But yeah, I've done some oh, I'm dropping. I'm dropping my thing, and then my chair rolled away from me. Where is it? I did some research and development because someone originally got in touch a couple of years ago wanting a custom pouch with a custom fastening, but they didn't get back to me, which is a bit frustrating considering I'd spent time and money making what do you call it? What's the word when you make a prototypes? That's it. So there was one with like elastic and a button. My concern, though, is this kind of elastic does eventually tend to go. So eventually that elastic is going to go loose, and then the deck's kind of, and then there was this, which I tried, which I thought would be quite fun, where, when you get like those paper folders where you wrap it around the two different, I thought that could be quite fun. But again, it's a little tricksy to make. And I actually think most people like having the pretty little charms. And I have done some like applique on some of my pouches. I'd like to do some reverse applique, but I'm hoping to get a a die cut machine for Christmas from Santa. And then I'll be able to do the reverse applique idea that I've had for like ages, and I'm like, I just need to get the equipment to be able to do it, because trying to hand cut that all out is just, it doesn't work very well, just put it this way. So anyway, I'm hoping for someday a round of baby pouches. My tower of trees is too small for most bags. Oh, okay. Well, just let me know. I will be opening up custom orders in the new year, though, Laura. So if you do want a custom order, I'll be making more for my next tarot. My next couple of drops, I'll be making these size ones for. I know there's people that want some for the Marshmallow Marseille, the Tarot Saran, and this is the same size as the squid cake as well. I've had a couple of people message me about those, so I will do a couple of those simply because people have asked. So yeah. Oh, I like the Wildwood Tarot was this in response to a question for the last prompt, Mona? I'm not sure what that was in reference for. Reference to, sorry. Just checking I'm up to date with the Foley tripping balls. Yeah. The good old days. Magic Forest is so good. I've read that one. Checking them all up to date. I have old and new pouches alike and like them all. That is very diplomatic of you, Laura. Although I definitely think I've gotten better. Disco. I love disco, says Shauna. Yeah, and then the new series is coming soon. I'm so excited. I get really annoyed. Just a little Star Trek side rant. I've seen, and it is always men, I have to say, where they're like, woke Trek. Now we've got like non-binary people and just moaning about all the other stuff in disco. And I'm like, you're complaining about Star Trek being like forward thinking and diverse. I'm sorry, what other shows, Star Trek shows, have you been watching for the past, I don't know, 50, 60 years? Because from what I remember, Star Trek has always meant to be about diversity and accept. The whole premise is like it's a post-capitalist society. They don't have money. Like everyone just does a job because they want to. No one actually has to work. They all work with a different species. Like I'm sorry. It had it turns out it wasn't the first interracial kiss, but one of the first interracial kisses on television. Like, I'm sorry. What is going on? I just don't get it. There's always bros that are just like crying, like we've pissed on their cornflakes because there's people like can see themselves in a show. It's always been like that. And Kirk went to space for real this week. He did indeed. Although he had, William Shatner is obviously hugely problematic. He's definitely had quite a few senior moments in the last couple of decades, but also part of me is like, can rich people just stop shooting people into space and actually just one billionaire could solve so many problems in this with like one day's worth of money that they earn. Like, it's insane. Like, there are no ethical billionaires. So yeah, I think, yes, Stephanie, I kept seeing people saying it's the first, but then I remember seeing a thread on Twitter where someone said it wasn't the first, it was the second, and someone had shared a thread about a different TV show. I can't remember, and I wish I'd saved it because then I'd be able to post it here, but I didn't save it because I save far too many posts anyway. So yeah, wow, I have been on for an hour and 41 minutes. That is quite a long time. I need to pee, quite frankly, and I'm really hungry and I'm feeling a bit dizzy and lightheaded because I need me some food. No, it's fine. I like that it was the first. We like excitement here. Bye, Aspasia Rising. Thank you for joining in. I'll be in for a few customs, says Laura. Oh, thank you so much. I'm blown away by like people that come back to my shop and like do repeat orders. It like blows my mind. Yeah, there's a new series, Heather, of disco starting at the end of the year. I think it comes next month, maybe, on Netflix. And then I think the new series of Picard comes on Prime next year. And then there's these Strange New Worlds with Anson Mount as Captain Pike, which I'm so pleased about because, quite frankly, he smashed it as Captain Pike. He is the most Pike that ever piked, and I was like, this guy needs his own show, and they have given him his own show, and I'm so excited. I've got goosebumps just thinking about it. I'm such a Trek nerd. Anyway, I will not apologize for being a Trekkie. They're doing a remake of Babylon 5. Yeah, I saw that. I don't know how I feel about that. I never really watched Babylon 5. Sexiest, oh my god, sexiest captain. Yes, although let's be honest, Michelle Yeoh is up there as one of the sexiest captains as well. Come on. But Anson Mount as Pike, yes, as well. And Shaniqua Martin Green is pretty easy on the eye, and now she's technically captain as well. So there's a lot to choose from. Giorgio is hot. So yeah, Michelle. I've always had a thing for Michelle Yeoh. I can't remember the first film I saw her in, but I was like, who is this? Oh my god, I cannot. Anyway, I'm feeling a little flustered, so I'm going to go and have some food and some water and a wee. Thank you for joining me on this live tag / ramble / rant, whatever it was, Trek Nerd Out. And I will speak to you soon. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, however much of it is left, whether you are still watching from Oz and are in the future at the end of the week, or you are starting your day on the west coast of the US. I hope you have a lovely, lovely time, and I will see you in the next video. And you know that, oh, I didn't know you were here. Lovely to see you. But I say bye. And Tycon as well. Before you actually leave, I typed much too slowly on my phone. You're fine, Stephanie. And you know the drill. Be safe out there. If you can, wear a mask. If you can, get the jab. It's all good. Let's all look after each other and take care. Much love to you all. Bye, bye, bye. Bye,